Hi, everybody. Kevin Harned Ryan Hoke with you in our studios here, where we're keeping an eye on the weather overnight tonight. We've got an update for you. There are no warnings out for our area, but we do have the tornado watch that lasts into the early morning hours.
And, of course, we're going to be with you all night long here on Wave News. We've got our whole team assembled so that we can keep you informed. And with folks asleep, we want to make sure that you can wake up those folks who may be asleep in your life to make sure that they are safe if any warnings are issued.
Yeah, and that's a big question. If any warnings are issued, there is the chance that we may not have tornado warnings in the area. We're going to walk you through that. Bottom line is, we looked at this system a week ago. We noticed the extreme wind that it had with it, and we said, well, we're going to keep our eyes on this. We sort of raised the flag a week ago, flagging it as an alert day, so you'd know to keep an eye on what's happening across the area. And sure enough, a week out, we're here. We still have the alert day, and this is going to go through about 8 a.m. Technically, that tornado watch for the majority of our counties until 6 a.m. Clusters of storms initially. We see a few of those. Our atmosphere is still capped at this point, meaning there's a lid on the atmosphere. There's not a lot of development going on, but that will start to erode as we work our way through the next hour or two. And as that happens, we're going to see more and more thunderstorms develop. So this is not a no-show. It's going to take a little bit of time. And there's still some questions on the intensity that this will be. Wind, hail, and the tornado risk are all still at play as we roll through the overnight hours. But this is not a major tornado outbreak. It just happens to be a severe chance with a tornado component that's taking place overnight. And that's what makes it a little more dangerous than during the daytime.
And the ingredients are in place for severe weather, even though it's during the overnight period, even though it's wintertime. We have just about everything we need, except for a couple little critical parts here, including instability and, of course, the necessity for us to break through that cap in the atmosphere to give us those more widespread thunderstorms. So we've already seen that happen once to our north and west there, but more and more of these storms will be forming overnight tonight as this front moves in and it kind of kicks up the atmosphere to give us those storms.
Yeah, we're going to get to the maps in a second. A lot of folks are just coming in. We see you on some of our social platforms. We appreciate you guys joining in. If you're watching on TV or one of our apps, whether that's the Wave News app or Wave Weather app, we say welcome in. Or on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and so many folks viewing from around the area. We're going to get into the interactive part of this, where if you are on those social streams, we can show some of your comments and we'll be answering those. Let's go through some of our maps. Ryan mentioned the ingredients that we have available, many of them there. The instability is sort of the limiting factor, but that is still moderate, and that's enough to see some strong storms. If we were to look at scope and say, well, what are the main threats? Really, it's equally tornadoes, wind, and hail, with the flooding threat a little less. Now, wind is going to probably become a more leading factor as we go through the overnight hours into the very early morning. But for now, all of those are still at play. Now, the severe weather risk is a little misleading because the map has been replaced with what we're looking at starting tomorrow morning, moving on. But the data that we have typed in our box is still valid, and that's between 8 a.m., first with clusters, then the line of storms, technically that enhanced risk area across the region with wind, hail, and that tornado threat.
Right. So as we go throughout the overnight hours, you want to make sure that you're not going to bed without doing these things, making sure you have the Wave Weather app and your phone is not on silent. You want to have a NOAA weather radio with battery backup in alert mode. Test it before bed. Make sure you can hear that automated voice talking to you about the weather. And then finally, make sure your devices are charged up. And if you've got those spare battery packs for your cell phones, charge those up too. Any sort of necessary medical device, want to make sure you have that with enough battery so it can last through any sort of power outage that may happen during some of these stronger storms during the overnight hours here.
Yeah, we have, again, a lot of data to go through. We're also going to take a couple commercial breaks during this half hour. We're sort of covering up what would typically be the rerun of our 11 o'clock broadcast. So we wanted to bring you fresh information instead of showing you the replay of the 11 o'clock news. Obviously, we have the tornado watch in place. This is in place for many of our counties along and north of the parkways, all of southern Indiana. It includes us in Louisville until 6 a.m. It is warm, 73, the current temperature outside. That will be the high for the day, and that was the high yesterday. But the radar showing a clean sweep here.
Yeah, clean sweep here, not so to our north and west at this time. We're, of course, going to see those storms continue to bubble up as we go throughout the next several hours leading into the pre-dawn hours of early tomorrow morning. We're going to have more on that.
Yeah, we'll show you the full radar view, what's going on, what's happened to our north. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more weather coverage after this short break.
Hello to our folks on social media, by the way. We are in a commercial break on television right now, so we're simulcasting this on TV, so you'll have to pardon us for the constraints of television here, but you'll be able to see us during these commercial breaks. We may just be laying low here for just a second, but we'll answer some of your questions on social as well as we go through the broadcast.
And we can even, at that, what are all of our break times the same, Jeremiah or Kayla? Do we know? So it seems like it was about a 2-minute break.
So we get about 2 minutes between these segments, guys, there on social.
And when we come back, we're going to show the wider view of the radar. We'll show those storms, which did have a tornado warning up toward Terre Haute, and then additional storms that went through the Chicago area, 2 pieces of this system that we're watching. We're 45 seconds back into the television, and then we'll continue our coverage here online and on the air. In 30 seconds. We could actually roll breaks even on digital if we know how long they are.
That would only be on the live stream, though. I guess on the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
For Facebook, they would just see us still.
15 seconds, and we're coming back here. 10 seconds. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Our Alert Day coverage continues here. It's 1:41 in the middle of the night. We are keeping an eye on the radar. There is nothing happening across the area right now. You can see that clean sweep on the radar, but as we went to break, we said that if we took a wider view, you'd see what was happening around the area. You see severe thunderstorm warnings lined up along the warm front and out ahead of the cold front at this point. We have the tornado watch, severe thunderstorm watch off to our north. I'll take off the watches and the fronts and just point out that it's been a very active day closer to that area of low pressure around northern Illinois and Michigan.
And they had multiple confirmed tornadoes and funnel clouds up that way. Just missed the city of Chicago by this much. But of course, the western and northern suburbs took the brunt of it. You'll see the storm reports, including some of the wind damage and wind gust reports that they had up there. Hail was just absolutely a huge part of what they got up there. And not just the Chicagoland area, but also much of Michigan as well. See those funnel cloud reports from Gary, Indiana, over toward Aurora. I know Schaumburg was under the gun, and Evanston as well a little earlier this evening. So this was like the first area of concern. Now the second severe weather area of concern, a little closer to home here.
Yeah, and that's where we have the tornado watch. This storm is moving on the northern fringe of that. This moved through Terre Haute, severe thunderstorm warning. And just prior to that in Illinois, it was a tornado warned storm. Even with this, you can see the tag on that says tornado possible with winds 70 miles per hour, 1-inch hail. That's the only warning we've had out of this southern part of the system that's in our area. And it sits just north of our viewing area, as you can see. So for us, we haven't had anything yet. It doesn't mean we're not going to see anything because our storms will fire when the conditions are right. And what that means is we have to erode the cap. The wind energy is still there. And we see that happening as we go into the early morning hours between that 3 and 4 a.m. time frame likely here in Louisville. So that's what we're going to be looking at as we erode the cap and still see that impressive wind energy with that low-level jet.
It's just so hard to get storms to form when you don't have a kick in the atmosphere, and that kick to get that cap to really erode away is going to be this cold front out to our west. We've had the warm front move through earlier. By the way, it's like 73 degrees 30s here in Louisville, which in the end of February, in the middle of the night, that's a little nutty. You know something crazy is going on when that's happening. So this has plenty of moisture, has plenty of the warm air to work with. We're really just waiting for that cold front to be the thing that ushers this whole thing along. And those widespread storms, they're still coming. This isn't a bust by any means. Let's just hope that the severe weather part of this stays to our north as it has been so far.
Yeah, and while we're saying the threat of severe weather is still sort of in the cards to move our way through the overnight hours, we should stress that this is not a massive tornado outbreak. This is not a massive severe weather outbreak. We're talking an overnight deal where we could see some severe weather and the potential for a few tornadoes. Now, what makes it so rare or unsettling is it's happening at night. Right? When we looked at the Storm Prediction Center and their push for an enhanced risk area, that's only midway up their scale. They still have moderate and high. We were nowhere near those. So we still have to sort of balance this with what's going on. We're here just to give you the information overnight tonight. This is what we do when there's the risk of severe weather during the overnight. We've got to make sure we have all of bases covered. This is one way to do that. We're making sure that you have the information you need. So before we go to another commercial break, let us show you the threat timing. Again, we're only on at this point so we can show you real information instead of old information that we would have typically had recorded. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on right now. There's certainly no warnings. There's not even a storm in the viewing area right now. But that should change as we make our way through the overnight. So for southern Indiana, that timing elongated from now until about 3 a.m. For us in Louisville, between that 3 to 5 a.m. time frame. So we're still another, 2 hours away from that? Oh, it's coming up on 2 a.m. So we're still another hour and a half, 2 hours away from seeing those storms initiate here in Louisville and move through. And then even later, further to the south, between that 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. time frame.
It's going to be a very soggy commute into work and school tomorrow behind these storms. So even though the severe weather threat will be dying off by that point, there will still be some rain, gusty winds. And Kevin, these temperatures are going to drop from the 70s now into the 30s by tomorrow, and that's mid-morning, just a few hours from now.
Big slide. In fact, for some of you, the worst part of the weather will come tomorrow with wind gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour as it ushers in that colder air. So we'll talk more about that coming up on the other side of the break. Let's take a quick break. We've got more weather coverage on this alert day as we continue to take you through 2 o'clock this morning right here on Wave News. Stay with us. So again, we'll fade out to a commercial break. I know we have Evansville. I'm going to punch that up. I think I can punch that up in router 2. Can I change router 2?
You can change router 2. Absolutely.
Sure they didn't. And then that was in what is that, 7 or 8? What is the Evansville feed in? Do we know?
That might be it. Is that their waterfront or is that Chicago still?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Folks at home on social media live streams here, if you're just joining us, a little inside baseball here as we're trying to navigate through some of our video sources during a commercial break. We're actually live on TV in a commercial right now, and then we'll be fading back in to live coverage. Again, we're just covering up what would usually be a recorded 11 o'clock newscast that airs at 1:35 a.m. We don't want to do that tonight because we've got severe weather in the forecast. We want to make sure all this information is new and fresh for you at home. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone with this live stream here.
Is Line Link 9 Evansville, REM 9? Can anybody in the control room hear me? Is REM 9, is that Evansville?
FIE.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
No, you're good.
Gotcha. All right, so we're coming back here in just a couple of minutes. We have a live picture from Evansville where there are no problems, of course, but that front is getting a little closer.
And to you folks at home watching us on our live streams, we do see your comments. We'll get to those just a little later in this broadcast within the next 10 minutes or so. We're going to be on until about 2 o'clock in the morning here, about the next 11 and a half minutes. If my math is good. 45 seconds away.
And I haven't seen any new updates come in. Let's see.
15 seconds until we return live here on TV, guys.
Here we go. Hi, everybody. Kevin Harned Ryan Hoke back with you from the Wave Storm Tracking team. We've got our eyes to the skies tonight, as dark as it may be, and no lightning to even light it up. So nothing is happening just yet. We still anticipate the chance to see some of these storms develop along this cold front. You'll notice Evansville clear as well. I can show you what that looks like back out across southwestern parts of Indiana. There's a live view from our sister station, WFIE, Channel 14, out of the Evansville area. Again, nothing happening there either. So whether you're watching us from Louisville, where not much is happening here. In fact, when we've looked around the area, all we have seen has been nothing but mainly clear skies. When we look at, I'm punching up everything but what I want. There we go.
There it is.
The SkyTrack camera showing nothing but cloudy skies, but the cameras are bouncing a bit simply because of the wind. All right. So that's what we've seen. One thing I think's been interesting that what we've been watching and waiting for has been our cap to break.
Yes.
And when we talk about the cap, it's sort of a lid on the atmosphere. The storms have to be able to grow in height to be able to become strong or severe or even develop at all. And they've sort of had that cap or the lid on the atmosphere for quite some time. So how do we break that? And how do we know what that is? Well, the aircraft are helping us tonight.
Yeah, so UPS planes are literally landing and taking off from Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport tonight, and select UPS planes have these little sensors on them that are gathering temperature and humidity data, putting them out through what's called the ACARS system that gives the data to the National Weather Service, and in turn they can turn around some of that for us. So we can see where that cap is, all thanks to UPS planes taking off and landing at the airport tonight. Two seemingly unrelated things working together very well here. So we know that cap is in place, and the only way you're going to be able to break that is if you can lift the atmosphere enough to punch a parcel of air through that cap. We've got the warm air, it's just not warm enough, so the cold front's going to be the culprit. And you see how that one lone severe thunderstorm just southwest of Indianapolis is just ahead of the cold front. Cold front helped to break the cap.
And that's what's going to happen as the front gets closer and closer, that cap erodes and eventually the thunderstorms take off. The question is now it's a race against time to have that happen before we lose any more of the energy. Now, the energy is still going to be there overnight. The wind fields are still strong, still anticipating thunderstorms. Question is, how strong will they be? I'm going to roll through just the timing. Again, when we looked at that, we said our northern counties between now and 3. We're still on track for that. We're just before 2 o'clock in the morning. Here in Louisville, between that 3 and 5 time frame, and farther to the south. And then we get into the overnight and day tomorrow, and that means still windy. But even behind the cold front, it is still windy. We're talking wind advisory categories, which means wind gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour tomorrow morning into the afternoon. This is well displaced from any thunderstorms that we're talking about. It's just going to be a windy day as we usher in from the north those colder temperatures.
And the problem is with the colder temperatures, we are talking about wind chills potentially in the 20s during the afternoon. Actual air temperatures, as you see here on this graph, in the 30s. So consider this, we'll be in the 50s by 7 a.m. By 11 a.m., we'll be in the upper 30s. So this will be a shock to the system. Be prepared for it tomorrow. It's not like we're going down into the deep freeze forever, though. This is going to be kind of just a quick 36-hour stay here with below normal temperatures before things pop back up into more spring-like territory just in time for the weekend here. So don't despair, spring weather lovers. There's more of your warmth coming your way here in pretty short order. But there's a live look at the radar, and as Kevin zooms in, you'll see Indianapolis now under a severe thunderstorm warning.
And that was just added. So we have the new warning, same storm, but that storm is now expanding right into metropolitan Indianapolis. Again, that includes not only Johnson, Marion, Morgan, but also Hendricks counties. Notice the wind speed with that, 60 miles an hour. And the radar indicated from that storm.
And it looks like they've taken off the tornado possible tag for the city of Indy proper there with that new warning that they had on the previous one there. So
lots of lightning, lots of wind with that. So undoubtedly it's going to wake some folks up in the Indianapolis area. But for us, we're all high and dry at this point. Storms will have to develop along that front farther to the south. We're going to start to see that happen. But the the main show will happen once we start to initiate more of these storms down this way. Right now, the atmosphere is capped across the area out ahead of that front. It's not going to be uncapped until that front moves a little bit closer in.
And that's going to take some time to get here, guys. So we're talking, after 3, 4, 5 a.m.
Yeah. We've got some of your comments. We're going to have that conversation when we come back. We'll take a quick break, and we've got more wave news on the special edition in the overnight when we come back.
Okie dokie.
All right. Okay.
Gotcha.
So when we come back, for those that are on social media, we're going to take some of your comments. We'll put them up on the bottom so you'll be able to see them. I see a lot of folks in here from Facebook, several from YouTube, a few folks on Twitter saying they were trying to watch on Twitter, but it was a little jittery. So I don't know what causes that.
That may be a Twitter issue. Good question.
Yeah,
here.
it's all coming out of here the same.
Yeah. So we can kind of see our own output back to us, and it looks good here for you folks on Twitter, unfortunately. And in fact, thanks to all 700 of you folks who are up with us this evening, watching across our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Really appreciate that. And we're here to serve you this evening. I know it's late. I know we're sleepy, but this is important stuff.
"30 seconds. Cleaning up the radar. Took the satellite off. I took the lightning off.
Oh, cool.
Right front quadrant of the 180 knot west southwesterly jet sitting over the region, suppressing potential convection."
Need that left front quadrant to get lift.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back in. We're coming up on just before 2 a.m. It's 1:57 in the morning. We're glad you're with us. We're here just to give you the information, so we're not repeating the 11 o'clock news. We wanted to provide an active weathercast here. So we've been going through the maps. We've shown you that there's nothing happening here, but the window is still open to see storms fire along that front. We're still capped somewhat. And reading some of the information from the National Weather Service out in Paducah, they're talking about the left entrance region, the right exit region, where we have lift. That's what we need. And unfortunately, at this point, we still have the what we would call that right front quadrant.
Yes.
That's the right.
That's where the
region.
descending
That's where we
air.
have downward motion,
Yes.
and that prohibits thunderstorm development. So until we start to get that jet streak lined up where we're in the right entrance region and the left exit region, that's where we'll start to see more and more development. And as the cap breaks, which that front will do. And then behind the front, the risk of severe weather fades away. So it's fairly quick hitting once it moves through, once it develops and then moves through. We've got about 3.5, 4 minutes. So let's go through some of your comments.
Yeah, we've got Keisha Bailey on here, and you folks won't be able to see this on TV, but we can see it on our social media streams here. She said she just took her phone off from silent mode. It's a good idea tonight, Kevin, to make sure your phone is not on silent.
Yeah, and even when we push the alerts, we push them as silent for this because it's not severe right now. And there's a chance that many folks will go through the night without any severe weather. I think we're going to have thunderstorms around, but this isn't a massive outbreak. This just is not. And we've been saying that through the night. But what we will be noting is that what storms do develop will have the potential to rotate. And that's the reason that we're concerned, because when that happens at night, obviously it may not be for everybody, but even the one place that it may affect would be too many if you're asleep.
We've got Chrissy Milligan here on the line with us on Facebook. She says, hopefully this threat will decrease some. She lives in St. Matthews, but she used to live near Marysville where the tornadoes went through in 2012. So I know there's a lot of folks out there this evening who have been through 74, 96, 2012, 2021. And you're up with us probably because of a little bit of anxiety this evening. So we're here to help at least get you through some of this tonight.
And that should be the demeanor in this, right? We're calm. This is not massive destruction. It's not even a severe thunderstorm. It's not even a thunderstorm at this point. It may not be for 90% of you. Now, we're going to see some thunderstorms develop, but this isn't a massive outbreak. It's not. And I keep repeating that because I want you to hear it. Now, does it mean we're not going to have severe weather tonight? No, it doesn't mean that. We could still have the potential overnight tonight. And any of those storms that develop because of the strong wind fields would have the potential to rotate. And that's in lies the danger, is overnight rotating storms that have that potential for tornadoes.
Michaela Weisart here on Facebook. What about the counties that aren't under the tornado watch just to the south? You can see it there on your screen, south of that red box. Should we expect that to expand?
We'll have to watch that through the morning hours. At this point, there's no signs that would get expanded to the south. Because as we go through the overnight and early in the morning, the energy of the atmosphere will be exhausted, and we wouldn't have time to sort of regain that during the overnight. So I suspect that as the night wears on, we may not see that extended any further south.
Angie Penn's got a great question. Since these storms seem to be taking longer to arrive or develop, do you think the time frame will be extended into the future? The back end of these, essentially, is what she's asking here.
So the modeling did not do well on the initiation of that cluster of thunderstorms initially. Obviously, they're not there. So the modeling did a poor job at that. Those will not be a factor for us in general. It's just going to be the linear structures for the most part along the front. So I don't think it gets extended any further back in time. I just don't think we have the forward part of it.
Yeah, and Crystal's asking, is there a chance we don't get any severe weather at all?
There is a chance for that. We obviously see the warning near Indianapolis. We have the watch in place. We do have the potential for severe weather, but it's not a guarantee. And severe weather rarely is a guarantee. Everything has to fall together for that to happen.
Right. And we've got so many folks thanking us for being on the air so late into the night. We appreciate you guys being up with us both on TV and, of course, on social media at this point.
I think I'll say what we've said before, and that is if you have a weather radio or a way to get awakened during the overnight hours, that's the best thing. Have it by your bed. If it goes off, turn the TV on. We're going to be here, but there's no reason to worry or be panicked tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So stay with us here on Wave and, of course, on our social media platforms and the Wave weather app. We'll keep you informed overnight.
We'll be here all night. Our team is here. You can catch Brian and Tawana on Sunrise for the latest information. We've taken the half-hour period that would normally air the recorded 11 o'clock news, so we wanted to give you the up-to-date information. For Ryan Hoke, I'm Kevin Harned, and on behalf of all of us here at Wave, we'll keep you safe overnight tonight and hope you get some sleep. Good night.
Block.
Okay, so we have another block.
We have another block.
I did not realize that. Well, we can keep talking. I mean, what do you have to? Yeah, I mean, we still have over 1,000 people on. Okay.
Okay. We thought since it was 2 o'clock, I thought.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know what the out time was for this. Yeah, I don't think either of us did. Okay.
All right. Well, we're coming back with you on social. So don't go anywhere.
Don't go
Stay with us.
anywhere. The numbers are still high. I don't think anybody's actually gone anywhere.
No, they are. We had it over 1,000 now.
Oh, yeah. I missed it. I thought we were only at 700.
Stick with us. Don't go
We're
anywhere.
still here. We're still here. Another 5 minutes with you. That's funny. We screwed that up. That was our fault. It's our first time doing like 2 things at once here, guys. So we're learning.
This is the last block though, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the out time is what?
Okay.
Okay.
That's all
Well,
right.
that's all right.
Look at that one.
We'll just kind of zoom into that.
Yeah, that'll be next.
We're like, what?
It's like, oh, we still got to keep going.
Like, ah.
Whoops.
That's funny.
That's funny.
I'm reading some of your comments.
Yeah. Brandon, yours is funny.
All right, boo. We're back with you.
We're back. Whoops.
We thought we were in the last block, but here, this is the final one. We've got about 4 minutes to spend with you here. We were taking some of your comments. Let's just recap sort of what we talked about over the last half hour, and that was we're coming into this overnight. We still have the chance for some storms. Some of those could be strong. Severe weather is not guaranteed, but any severe weather that develops has the chance to rotate, and that would mean the threat for tornadoes. And during the overnight, that's a rough time for that. That's the reason we're on here tonight. We didn't want to air the old 11 o'clock newscast, so we said, hey, let's take that 1:30 time frame, just provide our viewers both online and on TV with an update. So that's the reason we're on. I'm going to just take you on a quick radar tour, and then we'll get to a few more of your comments. You'll notice Indianapolis, severe thunderstorm warning. Those storms moving right into the city. Those have passed the Greencastle area for now, and those will be approaching Indianapolis proper and moving across the airport within just a matter of minutes.
Yes, and that batch of storms up there is looking pretty feisty. But notice this other cell just west of Vincennes, Indiana, that's near Olney, Illinois. That one's starting to get a little bit more perky on its radar presentation with that purple core right there, kind of that hook-ish shape right there, kind of like an inverted comma, if you will. That's one we're going to be watching very closely because that could get a little closer to our counties here over the next several hours should it survive and move across the Wabash River into Indiana here.
And that really is the zone. When we look at what we're looking at, it's this zone right here. That is the front, right? And that's where we'd expect these individual cells or the line of storms to develop with individual cells inside of that line that have the potential to rotate. So that's the area most of concern at this point as these storms roll a little closer to us overnight tonight. Still a couple hours away from us here in Louisville.
Yeah, it's very warm outside. Andre Goatley went to high school with him, asking us on our social media here, what is the dew point right now? The dew point's a measure of moisture in the atmosphere. And right now it's between about 55 and 57 degrees here in Louisville, which for this time of year is super juicy, a lot of moisture in the air. That's why we're powering up these thunderstorms to our north. And that's plenty enough moisture to give us the potential for some stronger storms, and even some severe weather early tomorrow morning, this morning.
We have a couple of minutes. Let's just run through. A lot of folks are saying thank you. We're down to our final minute.
Yes, Jennifer Eves watching from a cruise ship in the middle of the Caribbean. Wow, that's kind of amazing. Sure, families in Jeffersonville
Say
there.
hello to my mother out there, will you?
Yes, please do. She's having a good old time, isn't she? Speaking of your hometown, New Haven popping in there from Michaela Miller. She's hoping that she doesn't lose power tonight, essentially.
Yeah, and that's going to be a rare deal. I think this isn't a widespread, massive severe weather outbreak, but a few of these individual storms will have potential. Our winds are gusting now near 30 miles an hour. Our SkyTrack cameras are bouncing around a little bit. We're in our final 30 seconds here. One final comment?
Yes. Let's see. Hunter says he's in English, Indiana, sitting on his porch, witnessing the wind this evening. It's so warm outside. It's a nice evening to do that.
Yeah. I'll say what I said a while ago. Our team is here overnight tonight. Tawana and Brian will be on at 4:30 on Wave Sunrise. Ryan and I are here as well overnight, and we hope you have a great night. We'll be here if we need to be.
All right, folks on social media, we're going to end this here. As always, we will be on with wall-to-wall coverage if necessary through the overnight hours. So this isn't necessarily goodbye. This might be see you later. Hopefully it will be goodbye, though. We'll see how this goes, right?
Right, yeah. We'll see how it develops over the course of the next couple hours as the cap starts to erode, and we'll see where the weather takes us. So we're obviously going to be here as the night goes on. So if we need to pop on, we will. We'll say thank you. We appreciate everybody always tuning in. It takes a lot to trust a team, and we have a great team of qualified, certified, educated meteorologists, and that's what we're here for, is to provide this kind of information to you guys at home so you feel comfortable and safe. So we're not out running around beating our chest or scaring you. It's just a matter of delivering the information so you know what's happening. And that's what we're doing tonight, and we say thank you for watching.
Yep, we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much. Good night.